Greetings, Earthmen. It is good to hone in places other than our gus chamber before Slarface.
Dan Aykroyd and Jane Curtin are back as Beldar and Primat Conehead in Coneheads, the latest TV comedy sketch to be made into a movie. And it's one of 5 big new summer films we'll be reviewing this week on Siskel and Ebert, including Janet Jackson's film debut and new comedies with Richard Dreyfuss and Bette Midler. I'm Gene Siskel of the Chicago Tribune.
And I'm Roger Ebert of the Chicago Sun-Times. Our first movie is named Coneheads, and this is one of the more notable non-events of the summer, a feature-length comedy based on the old Saturday Night Live sketches that were just fine when they were short enough that they didn't outwear their welcome. The movie stars Dan Aykroyd and Jane Curtin in the roles they originally played on television, and after their spaceship dumps them in the East River, they work their way up to a comfortable suburban life in Paramus, New Jersey, and get along just fine with the neighbors.
Standard 3-horsepower internal combustion chlorophyll stock slicer. There is fuel in the device?
Oh, yeah, there's plenty of gas in there. I just can't get the damn thing to kick over.
Perhaps you and Larry will join us for consumption of mass quantities this weekend. We will ignite our new flame pit and char some mammal flesh for you.
The movie stars lots of other past and present Saturday Night Livers, including Chris Farley as the would-be boyfriend of the Coneheads' daughter, Connie. She's fun on a date.
Wow! My mom's the only other woman I've ever known who could take a sandwich like that. God!
Are you gonna eat that?
No. You're something special. You know that?
The Coneheads may have strange eating habits, but a Conehead dad, like a human, is protective of his daughter's virtue.
Hi, Mr. Conehead.
I find you unacceptable.
Yes, sir.
If I did not fear incarceration by human authority figures, I would terminate your life functions by applying sufficient pressure to your blunt skull so as to cause its collapse.
Thank you.
I imagine that the idea of making the Conehead sketches into a movie was inspired by the success of Wayne's World, another transplant from comedy TV. But the Coneheads don't wear well at feature length. The screenplay seems contrived, the humor is forced, and the Coneheads basically exist in a one-joke universe. Take away their heads, and what do you have left?
Well, you have a few lines of smart dialogue by Dan Aykroyd, you know, parental units, that high-tech speech, which is cute.
Yeah.
But you're right, there is no arc to this story. Wayne's World took these guys out of the basement and gave them a whole wacky universe to play
Yes, there was something for us to care about.
Yeah.
We really wanted them to succeed and to get out of their grungy little cable television world. And here, the Coneheads seem to exist exactly at the same level from beginning to end.
I'll tell you what, they're never really in jeopardy. You know, Wayne's World, the whole world could come crashing down. They had goals and dreams. The Coneheads just want to pass.
Yeah.
And in the 5-minute bit, that was okay to sustain them.
Of course,
but it doesn't work in this way. You're absolutely right. Okay, next movie, and our next film is really true trash. A thriller called Benefit of the Doubt, with Donald Sutherland playing a convict let out of prison after having been locked up for 22 years for murdering his wife. However, he maintains his innocence to his terrified, now-grown daughter, played by Amy Irving. She's wary of him because she testified against him at the trial.
I don't have to talk to you.
Remember what I said to you at the trial? Huh? I said, Daddy won't forget you. And I didn't. I never will, honey.
The only issue in the film is whether Sutherland is really innocent or whether he's come back to wreak more havoc. And so we have this scene of his daughter's son now possibly in jeopardy.
Mom said you were arrested.
Your mom has some problems with reality. Why would I be arrested?
For chasing us. She says you're nuts.
What do you think? Arrested? I think your mom's a little nuts herself sometimes.
Kids in jeopardy, a desperate move in the movies, I always think. The casting of Donald Sutherland should tell you all you need to know about the outcome of the film, but you will not be prepared for his climbing into bed with his daughter. That's gross, and the screenplay is inept at regular intervals, with Amy Irving and her son making one logical error after another when they're being chased by him. Benefit of the doubt insults one's taste and also one's intelligence. I hated watching this sleazy picture.
I also found it to be a very unpleasant experience, and I don't think that incest really belongs, either implied or actual, in a movie that is basically just mindless entertainment.
Yes, I agree with that. That's one of the basis.
Incest is a serious subject for a serious movie. But there's another thing in here that really irked me, and that is the awkwardness and obviousness with which they set up sequences that have no existence at all other than in the mind of the director. For example, they both jump into speedboats and chase each other around first she's walked across the desert to get to the lake, right? Now they both jump into speedboats, they chase each other around the lake, then they get the speedboats up to shore and jump out so they can chase each other across the land again, so that the entire chase sequence
made no sense.
Made no sense at all.
How about this one? I hope I can explain this to people.
Okay.
He's chasing her.
Yes.
They're going in one direction.
Yeah. All
right. She gets away. She continues to go in the same direction.
Yes.
Okay. Rather than going backwards. He follows her in the same. How did he know that she went in that direction? It's just
it's one of those logical fallacies where everyone in the cast had to know what everybody else was doing in order to turn up
maintain the story
in a place where they wouldn't be otherwise.
It's really stupid and offensive. When we come back, Poetic Justice, the new film by the director of Boys in the Hood.
I'm black. Besides, I ain't got time for no man in my life right now, okay? Thank you.
Well, you know what your problem is, don't you?
Oh, so suddenly I got a problem. Oh, yeah, you got a problem. What's my problem?
You make bad choices in men.
That's Janet Jackson as a hairdresser named Justice in Poetic Justice, the new film by John Singleton, whose 1991 film Boys in the Hood was one of the most impressive debuts in a long time. Poetic Justice is not as great a film, but it has its own quieter, gentler qualities, telling the story of how the title character loses her boyfriend in an act of pointless street violence and then swears off men. When a postman comes into the beauty shop one day, she gives him a really hard time.
Why you always so mad? You must ain't got no man because you don't never smile. Do you?
What do you want from me?
That's Tupac Shakur as Lucky the mailman there, and wouldn't you know that when Justice's best friend sets her up on a blind date with a mailman, it's Lucky again. The two couples use a mail truck to drive up the California coast and crash a family picnic.
This here is kind of cool. You ever been to one of these?
No. I ain't got much family. Family I do have ain't this close.
I ain't never seen so many black folks in one spot that ain't no fight.
The movie settles into the rhythms of a 1970s road picture where the plot basically consists of a journey of discovery with adventures along the way. Look at the sweet charm in this scene, for example, as Justice muses about her friends.
I wonder. Nah. He probably got babies and Look at him. He's just like the type that got a baby stashed away somewhere.
Justice writes poetry in the movie, poetry written in real life by Maya Angelou, who also appears in a brief role in the film. Here, Justice tells Lucky the secret of writing good poems.
Gotta have a voice, a perspective.
What do you write about?
Write what's in my heart.
What's that?
One of the best things about this movie is Janet Jackson's performance. She leaves behind all of the glitter of show business and convincingly plays an ordinary working woman from the neighborhood who has been scared off of romance and now has to find the courage to trust another man. Poetic Justice lacks the fire and drama of Boys in the Hood, but it shows another side of John Singleton, an idealistic, dreamier side. It's a gentle movie with genuine humanity.
I think I liked it just about as much as you did. It has some problems. I think the family picnic sequence isn't well hung together. I think it's at comic level. He doesn't have full control of this material, but he has full control of an idea, and an important one. If Boys in the Hood was about whether young men in the black community could get along with young men, this film is about whether young men and women can get along with each other, and we really feel that this relationship between Janet Jackson, and I thought the real star of the picture was this new guy, Tupac Shakur. He was, I thought, exceptionally good in a low-key performance. If they can't love each other, then there's no hope. And in that way, I felt there was an equivalence between the two films. This relationship, they're scared of each other. They don't know how to relate to each other. They want to trust each other, but they're unsure. There's real drama in that relationship.
Yes, there is, and it's well drawn. The scenes that the two of them play together,
yes,
you're right,
those are the scenes that work.
Are very well done.
The rest of the stuff is not so hot.
So many movies about young black people show them out of work, shooting each other, getting in trouble, drinking too much, getting killed, and so forth. Here are two people who have jobs, a mailman and a hairdresser, who are attracted to each other, who are worried about all of the things that have happened earlier in both of their lives, and that's interesting. That's good drama.
Coming up next, another stakeout with Emilio Estevez and Richard Dreyfuss, once again as comic cops on the lookout.
We think you'll be able to pass for father and son.
What, are you kidding me?
Try stop or I'll shoot.
Stop or I'll shoot! No? Anything else?
You say Simon Says?
That's Richard Dreyfuss and Emilio Estevez reprising their roles as cop partners tracking criminal behavior in another stakeout, a so-so sequel to their surprise so-so hit of 1987 called Stakeout. This time the boys are partnered with comic actress Rosie O'Donnell in staking out a cabin occupied by a witness in a mob trial.
I could use some help up here, please.
Help your mother.
Good boy. Yes, you were. Yes, you were.
Whoa, 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 whoa. Are you nuts? 4 bags?
Oh, please, don't give me that man thing.
No. This is not a man thing. This is a woman thing.
Really? Well, this is what I'm taking.
Fine, take the bags. We're staying here.
Isn't this great? Our first fight. Feel like a family already.
Listen, detective. We are supposed to be well-to-do. I cannot do well-to-do with one change of clothes, so this is what I'm taking. Open the trunk.
Rosie O'Donnell is supposed to be playing an assistant district attorney, but I guess there was no way her character could be a competent, intelligent human being. It's easier to make her into a stooge.
Aren't you drinking, Chris? No, not anymore. Too many funny hats. Oh, honey. Oh, honey, did I make that too strong? Honey.
The stakeout naturally gets fouled up, and soon the boys themselves are under fire. This banter between them just isn't funny.
Show him your badge. They're never gonna believe we're cops. Gina's there. She'll tell them. Go on, hold it up. Wait a minute. Why don't you show him yours? You think I'm crazy?
I was bored during another stakeout because of scenes like that. How bored? Well, I spent my time looking at the design and decor of the house in which the boys were holed up in, as well as the one they're staking out. The furnishings were cheap, but as I looked around, and I had plenty of time to study it in quite detail, the design was actually nice of those houses. So if you're, thinking about building a summer house, you might want to check out this film. Unfortunately, all too often, however, some actors got in front of the beams, and I couldn't see the best part of another stakeout, the wood.
Oh, Gene, I think you're a little bit too hard on this movie, and I started out with real low expectations because, this is really a totally unnecessary sequel. Yes. There was no demand at all for a 6-year-old movie that everyone except possibly Dreyfuss and Estevez has forgotten. But on the other hand, what began to grow on me was the comic situation. In particular, I'm surprised you didn't mention Dennis Farina, who lives next door.
Yes.
And the couple next door, they're staking them out, but at the same time, they inadvertently get to know them, and they invite them over to dinner. And the dinner scene in this movie, culminating with Farina believing, instead of realizing that he's the dangerous guy, he thinks they're the dangerous people, and he's trying to eat his dessert as fast as he can. I laughed as hard during that scene as any scene I've seen in a year. I thought it was really funny, and there was some other stuff in the movie that was funny too.
I think he's in a lot of beer ads now, Dennis Farina, and he has had some cop roles too, typically. He's a good actor. He is credible, and that was the only scene, I think, in the picture that I did like.
Okay, when we come back, Bette Midler leads a coven of witches in Hocus Pocus.
I put a spell on you, and now you're gone.
Hocus Pocus. This is the kind of movie where you get the idea the cast and crew had such a good time laughing at their own jokes and how clever they were that they forgot about the audience. The movie stars Bette Midler, Sarah Jessica Parker, and Kathy Najimy as 3 witches who were hanged in Salem, Massachusetts 300 years ago. Now they're brought back to life in present-day Salem.
I thought thou would never come, sisters.
Greetings, little one.
'Twas I who brought you back.
Imagine. such a pretty little child.
Look at her.
And she's so well fed, isn't she? Shishka baby.
The witches find themselves in Salem on a modern Halloween, which is rather confusing for them since they don't quite realize that everyone is in costume.
All Hallows Eve has become a night of frolic, where children wear costumes and run amok.
There are a lot of special effects in the film, as these flying scenes, for example, but the movie is filled with sound and fury signifying very little, and although the witches shriek and gibber nonstop, it's often kind of hard to understand them.
They opened it! Just when our time was running out. Come, we fly! On what do we fly?
And you know, I've thought recently, Gene, am I losing my hearing? Is it just that I'm getting old? Why am I having trouble understanding the dialogue in a lot of movies? And whenever I look at an old movie, in a movie theater, on television, on video, I can understand every word. There's something about this new kind of digital or stereophonic or surround sound that allows the sound effects to completely drown out the dialogue.
I had trouble with when the three witches are talking among themselves, they frequently step over each other. I don't know whether it was in the recording that they did, you know, the post-recording or whatever, but I'll tell you another bigger problem. If you could understand what they were saying, or when you did understand what they were saying, it wasn't funny either.
Yeah, then there isn't any purpose in the movie. It's a movie that might have benefited from a great deal more discipline at the screenplay level. It's a movie that's more about behavior, more about costumes, more about sets and special effects than it is about story. It's impossible to care about anyone in the film or to mind about what happens to them.
I would have to challenge the people that made this film with this. What do they think the comic situation is?
What is funny about it?
I would have them trying to explain to me, all right, we know that they were witches, now they're here, and we know when they go out on Halloween night that these costumes, they're not real goblins. Okay, I don't think that's funny, but then what else is the movie about?
There is nothing funny in this movie. Coming up next, our video pick of the week, a vintage Jack Nicholson film that has finally been released on home video after more than 20 years.
Siskel and Ebert's Video Pick of the Week, brought to you by Orville Redenbacher, the first and last name in popcorn.
Now it's time for our weekly home video selection, and my choice is a risky performance by one of the very biggest movie stars that now, only 21 years later, is finally available on home video. It's Jack Nicholson in The King of Marvin Gardens from Five Easy Pieces director Bob Rafelson, with Nicholson playing the victim of his brother Bruce Dern's doomed-to-fail, get-rich-quick scheme.
What are you talking about? I got guys 7, 8 figures calling me all the time, asking them what they should do with their loose cash.
Thousands of them. I can't sleep at night. The telephone's ringing all the time.
David, for Christ's sake, look how close we are. What are you letting us get our wires crossed now? Just let me row us into shore, will you, please?
Ellen Burstyn, one of the key actresses of the 70s, also delivers a stunning performance as a woman caught up with men who can't relate to her.
How's this? I'll shoot your brother David, and then I'll go to the gas chamber, and you can run off with Jessica, which is what you've been wanting to do for a long time.
Just give me the gun.
Isn't it, Jason?
Just give me the gun.
Isn't it, Jason?
The King of Marvin Gardens is one of many important films Jack Nicholson made in the early 70s, each with a common theme. He typically played characters who couldn't relate to women because he didn't like himself very much. When the history of Jack Nicholson's career is written, this early 70s era will be as important as any in his life. The King of Marvin Gardens is right from that period and finally available on tape, our home video pick of the week. Now let's recap the movies we reviewed on this show. 2 thumbs down on the Coneheads comedy. We both felt it was contrived, one-joke humor that didn't stretch beyond the sketch length. 2 more thumbs down for the awful thriller Benefit of the Doubt with Donald Sutherland and Amy Irving. 2 thumbs up, however, for John Singleton's Poetic Justice with Janet Jackson. It's a messy but effective love story with a terrific performance by Tupac Shakur as her suitor. A split vote on another Stakeout, the cop buddy picture with Emilio Estevez and Richard Dreyfuss. Roger thought parts of it were very funny. I was bored by everything but the set design. And 2 thumbs down for Hocus Pocus with Bette Midler, Kathy Najimy, and Sarah Jessica Parker as dim-witted witches in modern-day Massachusetts. They have nothing funny to say or do, absolutely nothing. That was a stunning bomber.
Okay, so the only one we agree on this week is Poetic Justice, and it continues, I guess, John Singleton's career as one of the more interesting young directors around. That's it for this week. Next week, we'll be back with the political thriller Rising Sun, starring Sean Connery and Wesley Snipes.
You should know I'm a black belt, but of course you are there.
And also, Robin Hood, Men in Tights, a send-up of the Bow and Arrow Brigade by Mel Brooks.
Check, please. Table 1.
That's next week, and until then, the balcony is closed.
Klondike ice cream bars. Rich, creamy ice cream with a chocolatey coating. What would you do for a Klondike? St. Ives Swiss Formula Apricot Scrub. St. Ives Swiss Formula polishes your complexion beautifully, naturally. St. Ives Swiss Formula Apricot Scrub. Coricidin, for use at the first sign of a cold or flu. It'll relieve all your major symptoms fast and help keep them from getting worse. Coricidin D, the sooner the better. Fashion Bug, for the latest in junior, Mrs., plus, even girls and men's fashions. 1,200 stores coast to coast. Fashion Bug fits your life.